Hello YouTube, what's going on? Shaney 2K here with episode 3 of the most must-see sports podcast on YouTube. Only a YouTube exclusive, all audio based. Obviously, you're watching this, see the same picture the whole time. It's more for you to listen to while you're doing stuff, doing activities. Maybe you're on a jog listening to me. Maybe you're just listening to me. Whatever the reason is that you're listening, thank you for coming on. This is episode 3 of The Shaney Show. We got a little bit to dive into today. Definitely not as much as the last 2 weeks. This episode will probably be a half an hour or less, which is kind of what I want to keep it. I mean, the last two have been, the first one there was a guest, the second one there was just a lot to unveil. So I'm really excited to get into this episode, but without further ado, let's hop into the episode. Here we go. So to start, last week we got into it. I was actually asleep when it happened, and if you know me, you know I'm the fastest news on YouTube. I'm usually first on everything. Carson Wentz has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, how do I feel about this trade? It's an odd one because I feel like the Eagles just got screwed. It's just awful, like how bad it went, and the Eagles are even saying that they're not happy with the trade, what happened, but I can't blame them. It's very, very tough. We haven't seen a player plummet like this from his prime. I mean, just 3 years ago, Carson Wentz was a MVP candidate, and now he got traded for a second or a third rounder, second round pick, which could become a first rounder in 2022. But come on, but it's just it's like the saddest thing you can watch is Carson Wentz just die down from 2017. I mean, obviously the Colts won this trade. They got a quarterback. And I mean, if they did it with Rivers, I think they can make it work with Carson. That's the best part about this. I think the Colts have nothing to lose. I mean, same with Carson. Carson could suck on this team. And they're going to go, well, new quarterback, new team, blah, blah, blah. Carson's still going to get paid at the end of the day. The problem is the Eagles. This is the this is a Texans caliber move right here. I feel like they could have gotten so much more for Carson, which is tough to say. But I mean, Jalen Hurts is obviously the future of their franchise, which I'm happy to say. I'm happy to hear. You got players on that team. You got ballers on that team like Jalen Rieger. You got players like Zach Ertz, still Dallas Goedert. A lot of big talent on that team. Fletcher Cox, and of course J.J. Watt could always head there. J.J. Watt could always head to the Colts, which would be really weird. Um, I'm just trying to throw out J.J. Watt because I'm not talking about him in this episode. But Carson Wentz goes to the Colts. Eagles just got destroyed in this trade. I don't understand how the Colts got off so well. I think after the fact it's going to look like a steal, especially if Carson comes out and has a great year. It's going to look like an awful trade, like one of the worst trades in NFL history. Like imagine, I'm not saying it'll happen, I'm not predicting it'll happen because I don't think it will. Imagine Carson Wentz becomes an MVP candidate. It's over. Like the Eagles need to sell their franchise and move to Indiana. Like it's over. But that's all I want to get into the Carson Wentz trade. It was amazing. But next up, I want to get into the Patrick Mahomes baby. Now I want to get into the release of Boogie Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins is going to be released in the coming days by the Houston Rockets. Now this is an odd move, but the choice by Houston actually is pretty smart. They're looking to go smaller. They're looking to go younger. DeMarcus Cousins coming off of an Achilles tear, and he had an injury right before that. So it's like, he's coming off some big injuries. He's older. He's a vet, and he's not producing like this is on record his worst season of his career. Besides maybe like his rookie year, I don't really know, sophomore year, but it's kind of insane to see him plummet and fall off a cliff. I mean, it was expected. All of us expect that after the injuries he sustained. But I really see him going to a team like the Lakers, the defending champions, who they have good centers, but DeMarcus Cousins would really help with that. I could see him going to the Nets. Again, good centers. DeMarcus Cousins would be a great bench role on that team. Could even make a big four if he really starts playing well. I mean, I could see him playing better than DeAndre Jordan, so it'd be really cool to see DeMarcus Cousins go to the Nets, or even the Clippers. Clippers, they lost Montrezl Harrell to the Lakers. Who do they have? Zubac. I would love to see DeMarcus Cousins go to the Clippers. There's even teams like, I'm always going to say the Knicks, but the Knicks don't want him. I mean, we could use him right now with the absence of Mitchell Robinson. I'm actually fine with DeMarcus Cousins coming to our team for a little bit. There's always the possibility of, like, Washington getting him, even though I think they should. Tomas Bryant deserves the minutes. But I think really you could make an argument for all 30 teams except for, like, the Sixers, because they have Joel, then you have Dwight, then you have other great players on that team. You could really make an argument for any team in the league unless you're going young. So, like, the Hornets, Pelicans probably aren't going to go for DeMarcus Cousins unless you're trying to, build up Zion with DeMarcus Cousins as, like, a mentor. But DeMarcus Cousins deserves to be on at least 25 out of 30 teams. I really hope this is not an Isaiah Thomas situation, because I would hate to see DeMarcus Cousins fall off a cliff, not be signed by anyone, and just be out of the league already. It'll debatably be worse than the Isaiah Thomas one, because Isaiah Thomas was the 60th pick in the draft. Although he did end 4th in MVP voting, DeMarcus Cousins' peak was supposed to be so good, and it was just derailed by injuries, while Isaiah Thomas had most of his peak, or at least part of it, where I don't even think we fully saw DeMarcus Cousins' peak. So prayers out to DeMarcus Cousins. He could really help any team. I really hope a team signs him. I really hope a good team signs him. I hope he makes the playoffs, and I hope he does well. Lakers also teams back up with Anthony Davis. That'd be amazing. Next up, after talking about the DeMarcus Cousins entire situation, I want to get into the Luka over Dame for the All-Star starter spot. This is really one that kind of made my brain hurt, because Dame's averaging more of this, Luka's averaging more of that. Oh, this team's won more, this team's lost more. Like, it's so tough, and I love that the fans were the ones that decided it. I'm pretty sure Luka won the fan vote because, he's Luka. And I think that's the only reason Dame lost, because I'm pretty sure they were tied in everything else. Or at least when you add up all the categories, they had the same amount of points. And I love this because you don't see the fan vote getting used too much, because then Alex Caruso would be a 3-time All-Star, and Taco Fall would be an All-Star as well. But I do believe Luka deserved it over Dame. I also like it because Dame's on my fantasy team, and now he's going to go off because he's been disrespected. I have a big matchup against David Bowser. I don't know how to say it. You're dead, man. I'm just kidding. But it's a lot of fun, the All-Star game. It's nothing to be taken too seriously. I mean, Michael Jordan was given a starting spot when he was on the Wizards, and that doesn't mean a thing because the player gave it up. I think Luka even said himself he thinks that Dame should have gotten the spot, which I'm fine with. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Dame fans you'll find. Yeah, I don't know every stat about Dame, but I've loved Dame since before all of the buzzer beaters, since before he ended an entire team's legacy, the OKC Thunder. But Dame is just one of my favorite players to watch, and I just love his story, why he wears 0. There's so much going about Dame, and Dame, I mean, as much as I'd love to see him be an all-star, obviously, it was amazing, but Luka in the end deserved the starting spot just because he's younger, he's doing so much great for the Mavericks. I mean, the Mavericks haven't, a lot of people, including myself, had Luka as the MVP this year, and he's not delivering on that. But also, neither is Dame, you could say. I mean, Dame's putting up, I think, 29.8 points per game at the moment, so Damian Lillard always has a soft spot in my heart. I really hope he wins a championship in his career. I really hope Portland can do something. And Luka as well. I mean, Luka deserved the starting spot at the end of the day, in my opinion, even though I'm a big Dame stan. Dame is literally Russell Westbrook's father. But at the end of the day, I do think Luka deserved the spot. Deservingly so got it. And I'm not upset with this at all. I think it's always a nice conversation. But again, only 5 people can be it. And it's a tough 5. I'm not saying Dame's not top 5 in the West. I'm just saying when you take everything into account, including the fan vote. Now, if Dame won the fan vote by a large margin, it'd be a different story. Then there'd be something to argue about. But because they were tied in every player and, coach vote possible and media member vote, and then it went to the fan vote, which I think is beautiful. I think the fan vote should be included more. I'm okay with it. So, Luka, All-Star starter. That'd be a jersey I'd get if I had a lot of money. Congrats to Luka Doncic, and congrats to Damian Lillard. He made the All-Star team still, so there's always something to be happy about. There's always something to take out of every negative. Now, I love to bring up the Knicks every single week possible after talking about the All-Star game. We know Julius Randle is most likely, or at least should be, an All-Star this year. So I want to go into a discussion me and some Knicks fans have been having lately. Who is the best Knick since Carmelo Anthony? It's a really fun conversation to have because, I mean, obviously, the first answer I gave because I got into basketball the year Porzingis was drafted was, oh, it's Kristaps Porzingis all the way. Kristaps was a one-time All-Star. But then you look at the stats and you're like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. It's kind of insane how the stats differ between Julius Randle and Kristaps Porzingis because it's just insane because Julius Randle's pulling in more rebounds, more points, I believe more assists, and I think the only thing that Kristaps is beating him in is maybe steals and blocks and field goal percentage, I believe. And Julius Randle is in his second year on the Knicks, going into his first All-Star game most likely. God willingly, please do not screw over Julius Randle. And Kristaps was always injured. Kristaps was never really. He was always great to watch. He was obviously the front man on every team he played for, but every team he played for never got even over 30 wins. Some of them didn't even get over 20 wins. He was always injured. He was very injury prone. Still something he holds on the Mavericks to this day. I don't believe he's an All-Star this year either, but All-Stars don't really matter at all. He's a great supporting role, like with Luka, but there's even talks with Luka Doncic, who is going to be at the top of the league in the next 5 years. Do they need a third star because Porzingis is not a big enough star? I'd compare Porzingis with Luka if they got a third star on the Mavericks to a Chris Bosh on the Miami Heat, which is an insult. I love UKP. I remember the day. I'm going to tell a little story. I remember the day Kristaps Porzingis was traded. That's so tough to say. I remember the day Kristaps Porzingis was traded. I was in 8th grade. I had the flu. I was so sick. And I wake up because I was missing school. I wake up. I got up. I vomited. And I look at my phone. And the night before was Dirk's last game in the Garden. Because I had tickets to it. I was supposed to go see Dirk's last game in the Garden, but I was too sick to drive all the way from New Jersey to New York City with my father, and it was awful. But, nonetheless, that was the last game Porzingis was at a Knicks game as a Knicks. So he was injured, he had that big injury. That was that season that he was dropping, he had a couple great performances at the beginning of the season, started off hot, had a 40-point game, had a 43-point game. Then he got injured with that. I think it was an ACL injury or an MCL injury. And then that was the last game Porzingis was in the Garden as a Knick. Now, of course, he's doing well in the Mavericks. Thank God. I also think we traded him because of the allegations that never came to light, which I wish we didn't trade him. I wish we waited till free agency because I think we could have convinced Porzingis. And Porzingis with the team that we got, so who did we get that year? Actually, we got nobody in free agency that year. That was a bad year for agency was. But, I mean, imagine RJ Barrett, Kristaps Porzingis. That'd be a duo I'd like to see. Or even if Carmelo Anthony comes back to the Garden, he would have probably came back more likely if Porzingis was there. But, congrats to KP. Julius Randle, in my opinion, is the best Knick since Carmelo Anthony. Now, do I think that will stand for very long? I think for about 2 or 3 years. But then I think RJ Barrett will start developing into a star, or even Mitchell Robinson, which I'm fine with. I love both of them, so bring it on. I'd love to see Mitchell Robinson as the best Knick since Carmelo Anthony, but Carmelo Anthony, it's not something very easy to surpass. Carmelo Anthony is going to go down as a top 50 player of all time, and the reason I didn't go any lower is because it's very tough to grade where Melo is off the top of my head. If I had this scripted, I would have put him at a 30s or 20s even, but just top 50 to be safe. But Carmelo Anthony's amazing, and that is a huge nod to Julius Randle. I really hope it becomes RJ Barrett or Mitchell Robinson. But, this Knicks team is no joke. I think we're the day of me recording this, Sunday, we're the 10th or 7th seed in the East. Never have I ever seen the Knicks go this far into a season, about 30 or so games in, right before the All-Star break, and be in playoff contention. What the? I'm baffled. It's the first time I've ever seen the Knicks be in playoff contention for more than the first month. So, Julius Randle, big nod to you. Hope you're an all-star. And yeah, that's not really disrespectful to KP either. He had problems in New York. He had injuries, and but besides Julius Randle, I'd have to give it to, of course, Taj Gibson, and then Kristaps. No, I'm kidding. Kristaps Porzingis, So here's the order: it'd be Carmelo Anthony, Julius Randle, Kristaps Porzingis. That's since Carmelo Anthony. So that's my opinion on that entire discussion. Now, get ready for the weekly wrestling segment. As always, I will forget to put the timestamp in the description, but if you're watching on the Shaney 2K Clips channel, you came here for a reason, and if you're not, you can skip past this part, tune out this part if you're not a wrestling fan, or if you just want to know what's happening in wrestling, I'll give you a little hint, but I'm only going to get into this Sunday, so yesterday, the Elimination Chamber match. I didn't get to see the first one, I was at work, but I heard Daniel Bryan won it, then he had to fight Roman Reigns right after. That was stupid. But then Edge comes out, spears Roman Reigns. Now, I wish he didn't do that because he already gave it away. That gave it away to me. That's when I started watching, was when Edge came out to spear Roman, and I got to see the end of the Daniel Bryan match. Right when that happened, I was like, okay, it's over. I know what's happening in the next match. And I knew when The Miz has Money in the Bank briefcase with Bobby, or he was talking to MVP. Now, what I think is going to happen, by the way, let me give my reaction first of all. So I knew it was going to happen. I'm not 9 anymore. I wasn't very surprised. This was not Seth Rollins or Edge cash-in. This was predictable. He comes in after the Elimination Chamber, after Drew McIntyre puts on a classic for 40 minutes, coming in third, eliminating AJ Styles, Sheamus, I believe, and, Randy Orton was eliminated by Kofi, so I think he also eliminated Kofi. But amazing performance by Drew McIntyre. I really thought it was over. They were wasting so much time. I was like, wow. Then Bobby Lashley comes out for some reason after losing his United States title to Matt Riddle, or Riddle. By the way, very happy to see that. And The Miz cashes in after Bobby Lashley gets done destroying him. He does a big DDT. Drew McIntyre kicks out. Skull Crusher finale, 1, 2, 3. The Miz is your new WWE champion. Now, I can't wait to see what happens on Raw tonight, because that's just such an odd move to do. Now, I have no idea where The Miz is going with this WrestleMania feud. Because if it ends at Fastlane, I'm going to be really upset. Because if it ends at Fastlane, Miz should go to AEW. That would be, if he doesn't get to go to WrestleMania as champion, I'd be very upset. But it is in Tampa, so you never know. This is a weird prediction I've been having. If it happens and I call it, you literally have to subscribe. I'm predicting possibly a Rock versus Miz, because a few years ago it was going to happen at WrestleMania. John Cena, obviously, and interrupted it. That's where the entire feud started. It was really stupid. But I think The Rock could come out, fight The Miz. It'd be really cool. I'm not saying give The Rock the championship, because that's not the right move at this moment. But if you do, Rock would have to be okay with it, and obviously, but he'd have to be ready for it. He'd have to start training for it. Even Brock Lesnar versus The Miz, and The Miz upsetting either of those wrestlers cements this championship so much better. Not him winning cheapishly, not him being such a heel that he has to win unfairly. Him going like 30 minutes with Brock Lesnar and beating a Brock Lesnar without Paul Heyman. So Brock Lesnar goes on like this tear. These are just some thoughts I have, but honestly I have no idea. If I was a betting man, which I am, I'm a degenerate gambler, I have no idea what The Miz is doing in regards to WrestleMania. But I do have an idea of what are happening with the other matches. It's going to probably be Drew McIntyre versus Lashley at least Fastlane to see who fights The Miz, or it'll be something else. But I could see Drew McIntyre and Lashley fighting in like a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania. I could also see Roman Reigns versus Edge, spear versus spear, blah, blah, blah. I'm really sick of it. Bad Bunny is obviously going to do something with somebody at WrestleMania. I'm hoping it's not the... If Bad Bunny wins the WWE Championship, I will sell Shaney 2K to the highest bidder. I'm kidding. I won't, because WWE would do that. Something's going to happen with the 24/7 Championship by the end of the night. R-Truth will probably have it still, which I love that belt. But, this really makes Miz's case as one of the greatest of all time even better. I've always loved The Miz. Miz is a really good character, and everyone gets annoyed by Miz TV and him and John Morrison. I grew up on him and John Morrison. I love John Morrison especially. That could also be a potential. John Morrison versus The Miz at WrestleMania. Who wants to see that? Nobody. But that would be a classic match because they have so much history. Anyways, that is the end of the wrestling segment. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're not a wrestling fan, you can stop closing your ears and you can listen, because there are still 2 more things for me to talk about on today's episode. So I can't go this episode in good faith without talking about the Anthony Edwards dunk really quick. It's gonna be a minute or two. I made an entire video about this on my channel. It's the video before this. I'm gonna link it. It'll be the top of links. Good God Almighty! What a dunk! Timberwolves still stink. They lost to the Knicks tonight. But Yuta Watanabe, you poor thing. I feel so bad for him. I made an entire video about Yuta Watanabe. That's what my last video was. Who did Anthony Edwards dunk on? It goes into Yuta Watanabe's entire life. Poor Yuta Watanabe. Great for Anthony Edwards, obviously. Dunk of his career so far. And it would really suck, but this could be the peak of his dunk career. He should make the NBA dunk contest just for this, which I hope they do this year. But Anthony Edwards only put up 7 points that game. Like, he's really giving me Vince Carter vibes with his athleticism, but he's not going to really produce, even though Vince Carter was amazing before, everything. But the dunk was just, there's no words for it. The dunk was greater than life itself. It was it was easily dunk of the year as of right now, unless something else comes along. But what a great dunk by rookie Anthony Edwards. And now the second to last segment of this video, the notable performances of the week. One of my favorite things to do. So if you didn't get to watch a lot of sports this week, this is the video for you, because now you get to hear how some of the performances in the NBA exclusively this week went down. This will start to go out to bigger things. I mean, there's the only sport going on at the moment is the NBA, but it will transfer into the MLB. If there's ever a college performance that's really good, it'll go into college. Anything like that. When football starts back up, football. And basically any sport, if there's a crazy, a notable performance, I'll bring it up. But this is just NBA exclusive at the moment. So to start off this Monday, we had Ben Simmons put up 42 points, 12 assists, and 9 rebounds in a killer performance. Harden put up 29 points, 14 assists, and 13 rebounds, while Kyrie put up 40 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds against the Kings without KD in a win. Draymond Green had a very odd game with 6 points, 16 assists, and 8 rebounds in a win. Jokic put up 43, 5, and 6 on Tuesday. You got Trae Young putting up 40 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds, beating the Celtics 122-114. Big win for the Atlanta Hawks, much needed win. Dame put up 43 points, 16 assists, and 4 rebounds this Wednesday. Jimmy Butler had an odd triple-double with 13 points, 11 assists, and 12 rebounds this Wednesday. Isaiah Thomas cannot go without talking about one of my favorite players of all time. For the USA team, along with ISO Joe, he put up 19 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds this Friday, proving that he's still got it. Jamal Murray became the first player to ever shoot and have 50 points without shooting a single free throw. And to end it off this Friday, Chris Paul, CP3, put up 15 points, 19 assists, and 4 rebounds this Friday in a win with the Suns. That was the notable performance of the week, and now let's get into the end segment. Now, the final segment, and probably the best segment of this podcast. I need a congratulations is due to LeBron James. LeBron James has surpassed 35,000 points, 35K, joined the 35K club. He is only behind Karl Malone and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in total points scored, and will most likely, if all goes to plan, if he stays healthy and stays in a few more years, he will be number one day. He will surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, something Michael Jordan can never do. The question about the 35,000 points, which is a huge stat, good on LeBron, amazing job, LBJ. The biggest question is, will he be the greatest of all time, surpassing Kareem? Now, Kareem is not the greatest of all time because he put up, I believe it's 39,000 or 41,000 points. He's not in my top 3. But in some people's he is, but he's really, it takes a lot to have someone argue that he's the GOAT unless they grew up in Kareem's era, which if you're talking to someone in Kareem's era, if you're a minor, please run away as fast as humanly possible. So, it's different though in this era with more scoring. It's a totally different era compared to Kareem's era. If he gets number 1 on the all-time score list, will he be the GOAT? I don't know if it'll make him the GOAT. I think he needs to win another championship or 2 for him to be really in that surpassing MJ category. Now, I know a lot of people think he's better than Michael Jordan. In my opinion, he's not better than Michael Jordan yet. I think he will be, though. I think LeBron will totally surpass the GOAT, Michael Jordan. I think him winning another championship, at least one, so he ends with 5 titles, just one behind Jordan, and him having all the accolades that Jordan didn't have, and easily the most durable and the greatest career of all time with LeBron James. Most durable. Longevity is insane with LeBron. LeBron will be the GOAT one day, in my opinion. Not right now. I'm not calling him the GOAT, but when it's all said and done, I think a lot of us are going to be calling him the GOAT. I really do think he's going to play. I think he's going to pull a Brady. I think he's going to play until he's like 45. I don't think he's going away soon. I mean, he said he was tired and didn't want to play in the All-Star game. Yeah, shocker. Tom Brady probably wouldn't play in the Pro Bowl if he wasn't playing in the Super Bowls every year. So, LeBron, a big congratulations on 35,000. I know that you will literally never see this video, but a big congrats to 35,000 points for LeBron James. And if you guys enjoyed this episode of this Shaney Show, like it up, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 800 subscribers. We're really close. I think we're about 30 away. And yeah, I am on. This will be the second link besides my newest video. You guys have to go check out. I am now writing again. I am writing about every Knicks game and everything Knicks for 5 Borough Dispatch. I really hope you guys go check it out. Go check out my articles. I go by my government name, Shane Dunn, and my profile picture, Shaney2K. You guys gotta go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I'm putting a lot of work into it. And that's all, guys. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Happy Monday, and peace out.